In May of 2018, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company would announce their upcoming new titles, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. This would be Game Freak's first attempt at a Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch, as well as the first traditional Pokemon title on a home console in, well, ever. Calling Let's Go traditional is maybe a bit of a stretch, as some fans would say these games were anything but. You see, these games were developed with one goal in mind: to capitalize on the success of Niantic's massive mobile Pokemon game, Pokemon Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. Game Freak set out to create a more casual experience and mix that with your typical turn-based RPG formula from the main series Pokemon games. This choice would bring many new fans to try out the latest title, but also left many core fans feeling dissatisfied with this seemingly watered-down experience. Many of us longtime fans expected to get the Generation 4 remakes as our first taste of what Pokemon could really be like on the Switch. So it was no surprise when fans were a little disappointed to see us go back to Kanto, the region that has been featured in more Pokemon games than any other. For me personally, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee were rather forgettable, and I vaguely remember anything about them. Typically, going back to every other Pokemon game, I have vivid memories of each one: the starter I chose, the first Pokemon I caught, and the teams I would assemble to challenge the Elite Four. However, I had no such memories or attachment with the Pokemon Let's Go games. In fact, I even had to go back and look up save data just to find out which edition of this game I chose to play on release. It was this little rat bastard, by the way. I saw this as the perfect opportunity to go back and play through these games that started Pokemon's journey on the Switch. We have a few more examples of what Pokemon actually can be on the Switch, so my goal would be to see if Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were really as shallow as I remember, or if I was just a disgruntled fan who never gave them the chance they deserved. Let's start off with where most Pokemon journeys do: choosing a starter Pokemon. In this case, receiving would be a more fitting term, seeing as there isn't much choice to make here. These games were based off of Pokemon Yellow, so you were either given a Pikachu or an Eevee depending on which copy of the game you played. If it wasn't already obvious by how Game Freak chose to title these games, Pikachu and Eevee would be front and center throughout your entire journey in Pokemon Let's Go. As lame as it was to have Pokemon that can evolve as your starters, the ways you could interact with these little guys, while gimmicky, was actually kind of cool. You could feed and pet them, you could dress them up and change their hairstyles, you could even have them right on your head or shoulders, impersonating Ash from the anime. And all of this was still available even if you chose to box these guys for a Pokemon that could actually change shape and get stronger. The whole not evolving thing's really not that big of a deal, as they give your partner Pikachu or Eevee access to special moves. These special moves would be of various different types, ranging from water to fire and even fairy type. But Game Freak, can we talk for a second? What the fuck are these name choices? Buzzy Buzz? Batty Bad? Rainbow fucking Friendship? I get it, Game Freak, I'm playing a popular kids franchise, but you don't have to degrade me while I do it. Before we go back to gameplay mechanics, let me briefly highlight the game's design and art style. Am I the only one that thinks this is the most fitting art style of a Pokemon game to date? In my opinion, the models and textures look so polished that there is an air of charm about them. Admittedly, character models look a bit off, however the scenery and the Pokemon themselves look great. I'm not outright saying this game looks better than Sword and Shield, but it is certainly better than that awkward looking chibi style we got with BDSP. Now on to the most drastic change Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee would make. Wild Pokemon battles were not in this game. I know, crazy, right? Instead, it would be traded out for the catching mechanic from Pokemon Go. The game was meant to be played with a single Joy-Con and would take advantage of motion controls, having the player swing the Joy-Con in a throwing motion at the screen, emulating throwing a Pokeball at a wild Pokemon. However, this resulted in me living out my childhood fantasies of wanting to become an all-star pitcher, throwing 90-mile-per-hour heaters at these poor defenseless creatures. This only lasted about a half hour or so because the Pokeballs kept flying off the screen, simply wasting them. And I can't afford that in this economy. Oh, and also the fear of this. This was the first time I can remember playing a title that only required a single Joy-Con to play. And while it did feel awkward at first, I quickly warmed up to it and found the controls to be rather convenient. Having a free hand while playing a Pokemon game was something I never knew I wanted. There is a joke to be made here, but I think that we're all better than that. Pokemon Let's Go would be the first game to feature roaming wild Pokemon in the overworld, a change that would be carried over into the main series games with Generation 8. It would be an understatement not to call this a massive quality of life feature. With the presence of overworld sprites, you can now pinpoint specific Pokemon to encounter in grass and caves, not to mention the ability to bob and weave around these Pokemon and dodge the encounters altogether. I'll take that over running into one of these assholes every 4 steps. While not the first Pokemon game to feature this mechanic, Let's Go would finally grant us the ability to walk with our Pokemon once again, a feature that had not been present in the Pokemon game since Heart Gold and Soul Silver back in 2009. After the Johto remakes, I've often questioned why this wasn't a staple in every Pokemon game moving forward. It's simply just a fun way to interact with our Pokemon. And Let's Go didn't just bring this feature back, it completely revamps it. In addition to bringing your Pokemon out of its Pokeball to roam Kanto with you, there are many Pokemon that give you the option to ride on them as well. Some of these Pokemon are more obvious ones, such as Rapidash or a Tauros, but I completely forgot this game lets you cling onto the belly fat of everybody's favorite thick boy. No, not Kevin James. What is wrong with you? Game Freak put a surprising amount of thought into the way some of these Pokemon would carry us. Machamp pretends to be a dad at a parade as he hoists you onto his boulder shoulders, all while strangling the life out of your partner Pokemon. Kangaskhan goes for a more motherly approach, allowing your Pikachu or Eevee to share her pouch alongside its baby. You could even ride on the back of a Starmie while simultaneously trying not to get impaled. Yeah, that one doesn't look so fun. I've already talked about how the creation of these games are a way to rope in the casual Pokemon Go fans, so naturally Game Freak has integrated a way to trade the Pokemon you've caught walking around your local park to join you on your Let's Go adventure. You can catch one of the original 151 on your mobile device and send it over to your Switch. The Pokemon will be available to see in the Go Park Complex, located in Fuchsia City. At the Go Park Complex, you can see all your traded Pokemon strolling around and sometimes even interacting with one another. To use transferred Pokemon on your team, the game requires you to recatch the desired Pokemon and then you're good to go. The Go Park Complex was kind of fun to roam around in. Seems like this is a better way to Pokemon watch over the camp system in Generation 8, but the real aspect I enjoyed about Go Park is it grants you access to more unique Pokemon earlier than you would encounter them in the game. You can also trade Alolan forms of Pokemon, such as Alolan Sandshrew or Alolan Vulpix to Let's Go, Pokemon that were obviously not available in Kanto ever before. This gives players more variety with their team compositions, which is a big A+ for me. Lastly, I want to talk about my all-time favorite thing to do in Pokemon Let's Go, and that is shiny hunting. Shiny hunting has never felt better in the series, with a whole slew of quality of life changes to aid us in catching these rare discolored Pokemon. Catch 31 different Pokemon of the same species and you have yourself a maxed out catch combo. This effectively drops your shiny odds from 1 in 2048 to just 1 in 341, and I like those odds. Lures make their way from Pokemon Go into Pokemon Let's Go, giving you a way to increase Pokemon spawn rates. All of this, paired with overworld sprites, makes for a great time. The feeling of seeing a shiny pop up in the overworld is an indescribable feeling of joy that kind of makes it worth the 4 hours I waited around for it. Anyway, that was my look back on Game Freak's first Pokemon game on the Switch. Were these games as casual as I thought? Yes, very. But that was the whole point of these games. Was it a bit boring being back in Kanto yet again? A little, sure, but it makes sense to me now from a developmental standpoint. When a game is going to experiment this much with a long-lasting formula, it only feels safe to do it in the region that Pokemon fans are the most familiar with. And finally, was I disappointed by this quote-unquote lesser experience in a Pokemon game after playing through Sword and Shield and BDSP? Actually, not at all. I had a blast playing this game again. It was honestly refreshing to play through, which is not how I remember it the first time around. In fact, I'll close this video out by saying I would love for Game Freak to give the Let's Go games another try. And if those games do a good enough job building on the foundation that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee built, I honestly think they could be really special.